It's so unique. And I think that like, it's good too, as a founder, to just get to a place of understanding what you need and who you need in your corner. And at one point we really needed you. Like you were our missing link that none of us had that skill set until we learned to grow it over time. And it's good to know yourself. And you kind of have to go through the good and bad to understand that, to know yourself, know what you need, and then build that little ecosystem around you to get you to where you want to be. And if you do it intentionally, I mean, I can firsthand say it works, if you put a lot of time and effort into that.
Welcome to Well Coached, a podcast about how people, sales, profit, and self can transform your business. I'm your host, Chris Weinberg, and I have helped hundreds of entrepreneurs get into their highest productivity zone and become corporate enough to succeed. Let's get into today's episode. Hey team, welcome back to the Well Coached podcast. I'm Chris, your host, and we are in for a treat today. One of my really good buddies who I'm so proud of, Lindsay Nead, is here with us, and has founded an amazing company and has a great entrepreneurial journey that we're going to dive into. And we talk here a lot about instincts and following your gut, and then how do you monetize your idea and grow it. And man, she's a blueprint for it. She's got amazing instincts for her business, tons of care and compassion, and has been able to take an idea at the early phase of an industry that has now blown up, get out in front of the curve, make the right moves, and has already had an exit event where she still gets to participate, which is a lot of our dreams. So we're going to dive into it. But Lindsay launched Parker Talent Management in 2017, and their entire mission was to represent a new kind of digital talent, one with heart and purpose and authenticity. And that went great, and a great meaning that she survived all the trials, tribulations, all the hard stuff that comes with operating a business that may look glamorous on the outside, but is hard as hell on the inside. And she did it. And because of that, has been able to make a super bold move and have a selling event to join forces with Propagate Content, while she has been able to retain her CEO role there. So kind of the best of both worlds. Lindsay's way too young and too smart and too energetic to be retiring, but not too young or dumb to recognize value in the business and extract it out of it at the time when it's right. So really a perfect storm for her, and those things come with intentional purpose. So over the next bit of time here, we're going to talk about how Lindsay built Parker from the ground up, what instincts have guided her decisions, how she's navigated the trials and tribulations that come with being a business owner, and we'll look through the lens of people, sales, profit, and self, as we always do. Lindsay, welcome.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy for you to be here too. And we're on different coasts, and Lindsay and I have been able to work together over the last couple of years and on different stuff. And I've just really love her team and what she stands for. And I'm so freaking proud of you. I can't even stand it. So we're gonna get after it. We'll start in the lanes of people. So let's start with that origin story. So before Parker, you were on the modeling and talent agency side of the business. You obviously had an aha moment. What was that moment or observation that inspired you to say, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go start my talent management company?
Yeah. So at that time I was booking models, and the brands I was booking with, we kind of had to focus more on fitness, wellness brands. So the Nikes and Adidas, all of them were asking for models now that had a following as part of what they were looking for in a casting. And I was like, well, okay, this is interesting. And I had seen at the same time a lot of people starting to do ads on social media, but this was just as it was kind of taking off. It wasn't really normal yet. And so the more I looked into that, I was like, this is fascinating that now anybody can really be a talent, and right. I just saw the opportunity, and luckily knew some incredible people with a decent sized following that I was able to kickstart the company with. You
were just such a forerunner there. I mean, that had to be, was it like this? Was it like an aha thing, or like, did it come over time, or did it hit you all at once? Like, oh my gosh, there's a thing here I need to go do, or like, how did you get to that starting line?
Honestly, it was kind of perfect timing because I was getting antsy. What was hard, or the challenge for me at the time, was I just had my son and I hated going into an office. and I loved my job. And I felt like I was at just in an interesting time in my life where I felt I just had a constant tug of war every day of, I love my job. I don't want to leave my job, but it's killing me not to be home. And I work really hard. So I was always like, why am I coming to an office I get it on days you have meetings or whatever, but so it kind of came at just really perfect timing where I was starting to really re-examine just what I wanted out of work and my life. And it was just perfect timing, to be honest.
Lindsay, guys, you know we talk a lot about the disc profile here. Lindsay leads with a high I, and you're going to hear that throughout the conversation today. And what that really means for her is she sees the possibility of things, so you recognized, and it doesn't mean that you don't love the thing that you're doing. High I's tend to love what we do. We tend to we tend to like what we do, or we just don't do it. Like we're not ones who stay in places that don't make us happy. But you saw the possibility of both, and that's what I's do. And then high I's also have the courage generally to go for it.
For it. Yeah.
And that
was the hardest part. I mean, especially in that circumstance, but really the time, everything just kind of aligned at once and then I went for it.
At Parker, you guys describe a hands-on, personalized talent management style with strong communication with the brands and the agencies. How is that translated? How do you translate that ethos into your internal team and structure? How have you been able to mimic what you have up here down the ladder? Because you have built a heck of a team, and you've had to do a lot of institutional knowledge transfer. How have you done? How do you do that? How do you even do that still?
I know it sounds as basic as it can when I say this, but I wholeheartedly believe in just being a good person. And it might not translate to everything. I might make mistakes, but I really believe I've made as good of decisions as I can. I lead with my heart. I am compassionate and empathetic as a leader. And I feel like that has trickled, down to everything. I think the way we manage talent, the way we treat our team, everyone says it is a different feel at Parker, especially if a manager's come over from another management company to work with us. They're like, whoa, this is such a different dynamic. And it is, it's very different. And I think that it's really always been that simple of just being kind and listen. And I'm not above anything that we do. And, I don't know. I think that's kind of trickled down to everything we do.
Yeah. So the good gal can win, right? You hear a lot of people saying the good guys come in last or good gals come in last. And that has not been the case with you. You do lead with heart, and I've been around that enough to see it. And you lead with compassion and with
there are disadvantages of that one. We can get in at some
time. There certainly are, right? I mean, that certainly are. But overall, the trajectory and the marathon of it is when you treat people well, people like being there, which creates longevity, and people who feel good about themselves produce good results. And so that's kind of your shtick, that's the frame I've seen you in. Tell us about that. When you jumped off and started doing your thing, how did you decide I'm ready for my first hire, and how did you go make that hire?
Oh man. I still always say that was the best thing I ever did, because it really changes the game for you when you start to hire. Cause I think we often, other entrepreneurs probably wait a little bit too long to make that first hire. And I think really I hired someone that I just liked, and it wasn't due to her experience. I just really enjoyed her, and we kind of figured it all out together. And I'm always forever grateful for that, because it showed me that I could hire. And I mean, her role changed about 5 times post hire. I mean, I had no clue what I was doing. I also didn't even know how I was going to pay her at the time. I just knew it was taking off. And I couldn't do it all, and I needed support. And it was kind of the safest, I hired her as like a coordinator essentially to help support me. And it was kind of the safest way I could hire. And it just evolved from there, but it worked out, which I know is hard if it doesn't, but it was a good hire. And from there, it just gave me the confidence to hire more and more.
Yeah. So what I got out of their team is she's right. Entrepreneurs generally wait too long to make their first hire because cash typically is a scarce commodity. And so it's a very, very nervous thing to do. Back to her disc profile of high I, where she clearly said, I didn't know how I was going to pay her. High I's just believe, right? Just believe things are going to work out, right? Hard work will mean we'll figure it out. We'll just figure it out. And that's a super refreshing way to get through life, for sure. Mm-hmm. So you grew this thing. Now you were the CEO and founder, and now you got a partner in Propagate. You're still the CEO. How's that role shifted for you, and how do you maintain your culture, which you've paid so much attention to? How's that blend going? How has your CEO role shifted now that you're inside the bigger entity?
It's honestly been amazing. It's so interesting because everyone scared me ahead of this. I've only heard not so great stories about, an acquisition like this. And then especially for the founder, I mean, anything from like other founders falling into like a depression. I mean, I had nobody model it for me and say, it's going to be amazing. So I went into it going, okay, I'm going to just trust my gut. And I really wanted to ensure that I had a lot of control still, because if this was going to work, I needed myself and my leadership team. I wanted everyone on our team to have control. But if myself and our leadership team, which is 3 other incredible women on our team, if we all had the control and say so, I knew it would be successful and it would trickle down. And so with that, they're a big part of this acquisition. They got a lot out of it as much as I did. And that was really important to me. Actually, my whole team I ensured that they all got something out of this. And
fantastic.
That was something I said when I first started. I was like, if anything ever happens, that. So I think we went into it with all the right components. And I definitely was still scared. I didn't know how much more would be on my plate post-acquisition, knowing that I didn't know if I'd have a lot more pressure as a CEO. And I really have been able to operate it they didn't want to mess with the good thing we had going. And I've truly been able to be the same CEO I was prior. We're just working on very different things now. I'm not as integrated every day with the team as the leadership team has really taken that over. And I'm working on more high level things with our talent, which is honestly really exciting. So,
and how great there that you had, and I know that those gals on the leadership team with you, and I think you've built a team there. They'll follow you through a brick wall, which they have. And that says a lot that they all survived post-merge. That's very, very rare. That's a very, very rare thing. And they've grown enough to push you up and to be able to go focus on other things, right? They've kind of replaced you in some aspects.
Yep. Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I almost get chills thinking about it. I don't know. I look back at everything we've gone through as a company and just, there's so many ups and downs owning a business. And when I look at what we have with the 4 of us, I'm like, everything was so, I mean, of course I do things differently, but I'm so grateful because literally it wasn't just my decision with where we went, like it was their decision, because without them, I wouldn't even be able to do this. And so it's pretty incredible. It took a long time to get to this spot, but I wholeheartedly trusted their opinion in the process too. And they were a part of it. They know what my deal structure was, which I know people think I'm crazy, but they know what I got out of this. And, I wanted it to feel like that. This was for all of us. And without their approval, I wouldn't have moved forward.
That's such a good leadership lesson. So many CEOs or leaders think that they need to hold information from their team, even when it's good information that might make them jealous or things like that. And just the absolute opposite is true. I mean, the more things you can push down the org chart and involve your team. And you've been a big believer that wisdom is in the group, and you rely on other people's brains to help you along, which encourages them to help you along. So, just so well done. So well done there. Yeah, that's so good. Let's talk about, as you guys too you've always talked about and been vocal about diversity and inclusion and representation. How have those values influenced your team and talent decisions over the years?
Oh man, especially since 2020, it's been a wild ride. And I would say that, I've had to really figure it out as we go, especially I feel like from 2020 to 2022, that was such a wild time to navigate everything. And the way I kind of made it for myself, I think for me to understand and kind of to set the tone of how we're all going to operate as a company and what our stance is on that is my goal has always been that everybody's welcome. Like you look at our site and you feel, and not even just from the diversity piece, but also an inclusion, but like also just talent management companies are it's kind of, I don't know, it's typically like a sexy business and it's a little more, the cool kids. And I wanted people to look at what we're doing and just go, anybody belongs here. And I think that that's something that we've just sprinkled into everything that we do. And we have so many different like ethnicities, religions, political views on our roster in particular. And I have always said like, I welcome all of that. And I think the biggest thing that's super important is we all have different opinions on things. And, again, this has been a really interesting time to be in social media over the past 5 years. And as long as you're respectful, we support whatever you do on your social platform with that. But we do have lines that we draw when it's disrespectful and hate, hate kind of forward messages. But that's kind of where we've been.
Yeah, you've got to. And that's a great example that we don't always have to agree on everything. We can just be good to each other and still exist and still have our own opinions and still get along.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, it's nearly impossible to have a team of everyone that thinks so. I would hate that. Right. I would never want to have a team both internally and with our talent where we all think the exact same. I mean, that's just not how the world works. So no. We just talked about this yesterday on the leadership team, just because some recent events popped up, but we have to set the tone for that and model that kind of inclusivity across the board. And then, you just hope the rest of the team and talent kind of see that.
Yeah. Well, leader sets the pace for the pack, and you're doing that, and you're showing that we want a family tree that forks, right? We want different thoughts and different opinions and all of that healthy stuff. We'll shift a little bit. You spotted early on that brands that wanted models with the platform that we talked about a little earlier, that model plus the social following, and that was a shift. And tell me about that pivoting from traditional modeling bookings to digital talent representation, because that was kind of like the wild, wild west at that point, right? I mean,
I will never forget, because I come from the model world where it's like a booking. It was called a booking, like you confirmed a booking if you went somewhere. I think that's what they still call it. And then I'll never forget with, at the time, we don't really say influencer anymore as much, but at the time it was like on the influencer side. It was so interesting because we would say collaboration or brand partnership. And I remember going, what's the difference? And there is no difference. It's like basically the same thing. There are a lot of nuances with just the language they spoke on the influencer side. So it was interesting because in theory, it's all super similar. Like we're all booking talent, right? Mm-hmm. But a couple of differences that were really hard for me to adjust to were how I was used to going, hey, so-and-so, I need you at Nordstrom next week at 9 a.m. Here's the rate, but let me know if you're confirmed. And then I'm out. And all I need to do is ensure that they get there for that booking. Where with creators and influencers, you book a Google partnership and you're telling them the scope of work, the creative and everything. And then you're ensuring that everything is followed. So you're way more hands-on with the creative process. And I would say you're heavily project managing the booking. You're not just saying, here you go, have fun. You're just a bigger part of it. So that was a big thing that I wasn't used to. But in theory, like at the end of the day, it all is super similar. And I see it. It's funny because with Propagate, they have traditional talent management that they also own. And it's so funny. I'm like, we're all different, but we're also so similar at the same time with what we do.
Yeah. I imagine for the people that you were working with, those influencers or whatever we called them, creators back, what was it like earning? I just can't imagine the collision of the brands and these creators. Did you have to go through like earning trust or teaching people what the business was or like? Oh,
for sure. Again, everyone was figuring it out together. Yeah. Like when I first started, some people were ahead of the game, but we were all still trying to figure it out. And it's just so funny now, if you book a creator at this point, they'll ask like, what are their analytics? They'll do more research. Whereas before, they were just kind of booking people. They didn't have a rhyme or reason. They were like, oh, they look good or they have a big following, and they weren't really supporting. It was just a lot of money being spent without, doing due diligence at the time. And so it's incredible how much it's changed over the years.
So a personality business that's now driven by analytics to a large degree. Right.
Oh, Oh, I always say you can have 10 million followers and someone with 500,000 followers could be charging way more than you could charge at 10 million followers, because it's not all about just the following anymore. It's like, what's the data behind that? Yeah. And sadly, sometimes just a big audience doesn't have that supportive back end insights that make it worthwhile for a brand to work with them.
Hey team, are you looking to elevate your golf game year-round? Nashville City Golf, located within the Nashville City Club at 200 2nd Avenue South, offers a premier indoor golfing experience right in the heart of downtown. With over 350 real-world courses available on state-of-the-art TrackMan.io simulators, you can challenge yourself on some of the world's most renowned fairways without leaving the city. Whether you're a seasoned golfer or just starting out, our facility caters to all skill levels. Features of the club include TrackMan.io performance tracking, an adjustable swing stage, indoor putting, and great upscale lounge and food and beverage, as well as PGA instruction right on site. Nashville City Golf isn't just about swinging a club, it's about experiencing a revolution in golf practice and entertainment. Our cutting-edge features elevate your game and create an unforgettable experience. We offer flexible membership options to suit your needs, as well as booking for individual sessions. Ready to tee off? Visit NashvilleCityGolf.com to learn more about memberships, book a session, or schedule a lesson with one of our PGA instructors. Elevate your game at Nashville City Golf, where the best of golf meets the best of Nashville. As Parker grew, what sales or marketing channels moved the needle the most, right? Speaking or referrals or brand partnerships? How did you create the mousetrap to where these creators wanted to be a part of it?
Referrals, without a doubt. Okay. I mean, nothing's better than word of mouth, but something that actually was so interesting that I found a lot of success with was, I don't even want to give away the secret, but I'm just kidding. That was back in the day, so it's fine. No, but it's funny. I remember I loved social media at the time, and I was just intrigued by the industry. And I just remember going, hey, if I can make it look like we are one badass talent management company, even though we actually are only managing about 2 people behind the scenes, and I'm a one-woman show, have no idea. I'm still trying to figure out what the heck I'm even doing. If I can make us look strong, then people are going to notice, because it's visually, I mean, they're on social media creating content. So I need to visually look strong. So I do actually think Instagram, I always said Instagram was like our brochure. That sounds so antiquated just to say that, but I was like, this is people, like what their first view of the company is. So I'm just going to make us look really strong. And that meant I was only sharing like the best brands we were working with. I wouldn't share I was just waiting for like the cool brands, and I would only highlight those and wouldn't highlight the others. And I was just being really, particular about what the content we were putting up there. And I think that made us look stronger than we actually truly were at the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. And team, that goes right back to disc profile. Lindsay leads with an eye, and eyes are always the natural talent of an eye is to look good, right? Whether that means you're at the outward facing presentation for folks with high eyes. It's natural to lean into presentation, and that has worked beautiful for you. And so that's fantastic.
Thank you.
With the Propagate acquisition, how has the sales role evolved, or is just the referral and the engine's just that much bigger? Or any changes for how you attract who comes into the fold or not?
Not really yet. There's so much going on that they definitely, what's been amazing is just their different contacts. So I will say we are for sure getting more brand dollars across the board. But we're right now, that's kind of the fun part. I feel like I'm a student all over again. I'm learning so much, and my goal is just to, I love working still. So I didn't do this transaction because I wanted to step out. I did it because I kind of wanted to see what the heck else we could do. And I knew that it would take some massive internal hires or some strategic partners. And so I also had no idea I was going to fully sell my company 100%, but I was kind of thinking, a strategic partner, a minority investor would be great. And here we are. But what I loved about it again is that they were letting us do what we were already doing, but we can tap into their resources. And so they have the show like Stick on Apple right now, and Running Wild with Bear Grylls. Still, they have a lot of things going on where they're working with brands on that side. So it's been able to kind of come over to our side a little bit, and that's been great. But we're still in the middle of. There's a lot on the back end a lot to figure out in terms of systems and all of that. And so what we're currently building is going to expand that quite substantially, which I'm excited about.
Well, again, team, a lot there. Lindsay said she wanted to keep learning, and being a student of the game is so important. And you didn't have to do that. You had a business that was up and running and doing great and growing at a clip, but you wanted more. And being a student of the game led you to the next thing. And so that's all textbook kind of stuff there. So, and to your point of, hey, we could have gone and made some massive hires or tap into a system that's already that provides that. And that worked on the Propagate side too, right? They could have had a massive lift to try to go do what you were doing, but instead, you just put it together, right? All of us are stronger than one of us.
It's so true. And I will say within that, also, it's so funny. I feel so passionate about this now because I have learned so much. It's unlocked just so many. I wish I had known so much that I know now then. And I will say what's just so interesting is there's so many routes you can go. And I feel like one thing I was so happy about within that process was I focus more on people. I needed strategic, right? I couldn't just hire anybody or go get acquired by anybody. It needed to make sense, obviously. But we had quite a few offers, and really strong offers from really big people in our industry. And I ultimately went with who I felt would be kind of the most let's do this together and good people. And I followed that, and I don't know, maybe that was the recipe for success in a transaction, because we had bigger offers and went with what we felt was the right one on a people level. And it's just really paid off.
Well, you put yourself in a position to be choosy, which is super strong. And money is not the only driving factor in how to be happy in life, right?
Oh my gosh. I think of, Yeah. And yes, it's so true. Going through something like this will really test you on like how you approach money and how meaningful it actually is. And
Yeah.
it really, I don't know, it was good for me to know that like it absolutely, I mean, it has to be a part of it.
Sure, for sure.
I also think I got more than I ever even wanted out of a transaction. So I'm happy with that. But I ultimately followed my heart, and that meant like maybe I didn't make quite as much, but I made the right decision, you know?
Yeah. Well, that was actually, you're leading me to the next question. I was going to say, what were the trigger moments for the acquisition for you to say, yes, let's do it? And you kind of been answering some of that, but what?
Well, you know, I mean, because we worked together for so long, like I think I went through a time of, I had let go a lot of control over the company. I was kind of stepping out more and more. And then, you know, stuff was not going the way I had hoped. And so I stepped back in, and I kind of told myself, I had always thought one day I'd look at an acquisition, and we had some offers earlier on that I never moved forward with. But I just remember saying, like, it was funny, the year after just some decisions we had to make, it was, I think 2024. I don't even know now. Gosh, it was 2024. We said our goal, myself and the leadership team, we said stability was like, just stability was so important. We didn't want to have crazy goals. We just wanted stability and like peace within our day to day. And we achieved that. And I remember summer of 2024, when I got introduced to the banker that we worked with, I was just in probably the most peaceful state I had ever been in as a founder. And you think that's extremely unrealistic. You think you just get more and more stressed. And I was like, oh my gosh, here I am. I felt like I learned so much through, you know, good and bad decisions. And I felt just at a good place. And I said, you know what, if anything, I have a good head on my shoulders right now, and I should just look at it. And I felt like the timing was really important, and it was a good time. And I had no expectations. I said, let me just look at what's out there. And if there's someone that can do a lot for us, great. And if not, we just keep building this on our own. And it wasn't because I wanted out. It was truly because I wanted to see what else was out there. And that led to a whole proper process that I went through. And luckily, meeting with many different people helped me understand like what I actually wanted at the end of the day. And here we are.
And you're able to do that from a place of calm versus a place of panic. So,
I mean, I am so grateful I never went through this earlier on. I wasn't ready, and I really felt ready. I felt calm, collected. I felt, again, we had so much stability within the company. And
what created that stability? Talk to us about that a little bit. Talk to us about, some of the darkest times and how you work through it. And because really you develop these generals, right? You got these you got these generals around you, and you were conscious about doing that. And so that's,
man.
Here's what I'm trying to get to. Maybe let me rephrase that. I'm trying to get to, you've got this wonderful story where you have hit the damn ball over the wall. Yeah. But I want people to know that you also had tough times, and you embraced them. You worked through it. You didn't give up. You didn't go hit the panic button. Walk us through that a little bit to get to this leadership team that you created.
Well, it was all just up and up for so many years. Things were just growing and growing. I was like, this is amazing. Okay. And I had my core team, and then it started to get, we had like no one ever leave. We had no turnover with our internal team ever. So I was like, this is a dream. Like, things are perfect. And then we had our first person leave. That was like a really solid team member. And then we had our second person leave that had been there. I had my first employee that was with us forever from the very beginning leave, which was really hard. And I had hired a kind of right hand for me that was taking a lot off. And I'll be honest, I made so many mistakes throughout that time. Like I know now what I would do differently. And I wish I I'm such a emotional, like sensitive person. And it's so funny. It's really hard for me to it's not hard for me to admit I made those mistakes, but I just wish more than any, like the damage is done. And I don't, no one handled things perfectly, but I wish we had moved through those differently as a company. And I always say, I wish I'm really bad because I'm emotional or more sensitive as a leader. I sit on decisions for a really long time, which you saw very clearly. And I'm so much better at making harder decisions faster. And so is our leadership team. And I wish that earlier on I knew to trust my gut. And because it actually, at the end of the day, when something's just not really working, and it's a disservice to that other person to not make that decision faster. And within that indecision, it just makes things kind of worse. And so I really wish I had moved through those faster, especially when I knew what the ultimate answer was. And so I think I'm still so grateful I went through it, because I look back and I'm like, oh gosh, I feel so proud of myself for how I handle things now. And I also will say the leadership, it's so funny. One of the girls on our leadership team, well, actually in the last week, my right hand, who is Lauren, I will shout her out. It's funny. Like, she is the part of my brain. What's her disc? She's opposite of me.
Yeah. She's got that. She got that, a lot of that C rising up there, right? Just that logic based thinking, just calm, steady, a little bit more edgy, a little bit.
Yes. And just straight, I tell her all the time that I don't even know. And she's been with me for so long, and it's not that I didn't see it, but she's been my stable, my stability for the longest time, just there always. And it took me, it's so funny because I call her my boss now. I'm always like, okay, whatever you say, boss. Like, I trust her. I listen to her. And she she wasn't a COO at a company before this, or a VP of operations. She has great credentials, but she has really grown into this role. And it was interesting that I think when you sometimes think of what you need as a founder, you think you need this like massive person to come and help you. And it's been better for me, at least, to have that internally kind of grow. And I really have what I need in her on the other side. She's just truly like we are yin and yang in the best way. And then I have like Steph, who, Steph is also similar to Lauren, and she's been with me. She was my second hire ever. Yeah. And she is just so stable also. And we have such a good, solid admiration for one another, I think, in business. And then I have my Taylor, who's like my cheerleader, and she's like, and I didn't actually know I needed that. And she is kind of like, she always tells me things like, you're the best person I've ever worked for in my life. And like, she gives me a lot of compliments, which I don't ever think I've needed, but dynamic. No, they don't hurt. And in that dynamic, it's always been nice. And I also know she'll tell me when I've messed up or I'm not doing and so she's an East Coaster. And I've always told her I love that. Like, she'll tell it how it is, but I also realized I really needed kind of that. I got kind of knocked down a little bit, and I needed to be reminded that I was a good leader and that I am doing things well. And so it's interesting to go through a lot of turmoil to kind of get back in and figure out, I had everything I kind of needed right in front of me. We just had to move some things around.
That's right.
and figure it out. And Propagate in the transaction sees that all the time. They are like, you guys are powerful. Like, our dynamic is unlike anything they've seen. And it just it wasn't easy to get here, but you just keep working at it, and you make those hard decisions, and then you treat those people really well. And I feel like that's why with the transaction, they needed a lot out of it. I can probably say this, but they have equity in what we're building. And that was, I had said that when I first started Parker, and like that was my goal for even just if we didn't sell, for them to have it in the company one day. And so I was really proud of myself for like, I wanted to deliver, and yeah.
Well, you've built a team, and just from a disc profile standpoint out there, team listening, Steph and Lauren have a lot of S&C sitting in their disc. So stability, logic-based thinking, calm, cool, collected, anchors the big idea. And then Taylor is a Tasmanian devil. She's got that big DI. She's got that big DI personality that rides beside you on wildness and the big thing and the big idea and let's go and confidence. And it's just your family tree inside of the leadership team forks really well.
Yeah.
And it should. And even the things you're saying about, I call her boss, that's amazing, because we talk a lot about push power down the org chart as fast as you can appropriately. And you've done that, and you're allowing them to flourish, and you're allowing them to push you up. And if they didn't have a skill set, this would not be working, right? It wouldn't allow you to keep flying and keep growing, which allows them to take the next step up.
Yeah.
So it's just really, really special.
It's so unique. And I think that like, it's good too, as a founder, to just get to a place of understanding what you need and who you need in your corner. And at one point we really needed you. Like you were our missing link, that none of us had that skill set, until we learned to grow it over time. And it's important to ensure, it's good to know yourself. And you kind of have to go through the good and bad to understand that, to know yourself, know what you need, and then build that little ccosystem around you to get you to where you want to be. And if you do it intentionally, I can firsthand say, it works, if you put a lot of time and effort into that.
Amazing for them. Hey team, are you looking to elevate your professional and personal life in the heart of Nashville? Well, since 1957, the Nashville City Club has been the city's premier private membership club, offering an exceptional experience in fine dining, networking, and memorable events. As a member, you'll enjoy top-tier networking opportunities, business development events, mentoring programs, social mixers, and signature holiday celebrations. The club's private dining room serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner in a professional yet relaxed environment, featuring menus crafted by Nashville's top culinary professionals. Members enjoy personalized concierge services, including bookings for concerts, events, sports, and dining reservations. Additionally, the club offers discounted private event spaces for personal and professional gatherings, accommodating over 200 guests at a time. We are located at 200 South 2nd Avenue. The Nashville City Club provides a versatile environment that serves as both a home away from home and an extension of your office. The warmth of the staff, the energy of the city, and the pride of the community are felt instantly upon arriving. Join us for this thriving community of Nashville's most respected and accomplished citizens. Apply for membership today and experience the unparalleled benefits the Nashville City Club has to offer. For more information or to start your application, visit nashvillecity.com or email info@nashvillecity.com. What about, let's shift into self, because you're founding a company, you've been representing creators. That means your own personal brand in the beginning that you had to establish to attract folks, and the personalities of the creators of all. Now you're intertwined. How have you navigated that tension between being your private self and your public identity over the years?
It's so funny. That's such a good question. The older I get, the less I even want to be on social media, but obviously we're in the business of social. So I'm constantly thinking of how I come across in that public facing aspect. I follow all of our talent, and all of our talent pretty much follow me. And that's getting harder and harder and harder because you got so many. We have so many, and I care a lot about how they see me and how I'm perceived. But one thing I really try to do more than anything is, one, we were also just talking about this yesterday. I always want to be tasteful. Like, that doesn't mean I can't have a voice or share something or be a little controversial, but I just choose not to. I'm like, listen, I choose to just not share. It's like I only share what is, I want people to just feel good when they see me, when they listen to a podcast or they see me on social media or they see me in person. And I want to feel like a comfortable person for them. And so I also want to always stay relevant. So I do actually still try to, when I do post a photo, I try to post a good one and do a good job. I try to make cool videos. I don't ever want, it's so funny. I have this thing internally, but I never want to look outdated because again, I want creators to think I know what this business is. Not that I'm trying to, I want to keep up with the times. And so I do try to do that. And I also enjoy sharing things, but I'm just, really cautious with how I think I come across. And when in doubt, I just honestly just share less on social media. Then more. I think less is more sometimes. And I hope that all makes sense. But that's how I look at it.
With the way things change so fast, and you mentioned staying relevant, what creates the relevance? Is it the management companies and you guys saying, here's what's hot, or is it the creators showing y'all who keeps up with who? Are the creators keeping up with management, or is management keeping up with creators in terms of who's pushing the envelope?
Yeah, we try to get ahead of different trends and where the industry is going and share that with our talent. I mean, they're pretty freaking savvy, most of them. So it's a little bit of both. Okay. And then I definitely, gosh, I shouldn't even say this, but the honest truth is I follow like all of these accounts that are even just like, let's just take Instagram creators, like what are the new features and stuff like that. I absolutely hate following these accounts, but the reality is like, it's important for me to know. And I never want to be in a conversation like, oh, what's that? It helps me feel more confident leading a company based around social media. And so I follow a lot of those accounts so that I can keep up with what is going on, what new features are out, what platforms are taking off. And of course, all the industry newsletters that I get to keep me relevant.
So you maintaining that student of the game deal. You're in a business because of all that. You're basically in a business that goes 24/7. And how do you keep yourself grounded, and how do you check out, and how do you keep your sanity through all of that, living in a digital world all the time? How do you stay sane? How do you keep yourself sane and grounded?
I probably have, I would say time management is huge, and I am pretty cognizant of how much time I'm spending on social media, but not just that, just how much time I'm spending on email, because the problem is you clean out, I'm a zero inbox person. That's just how my brain works. And which is funny because it's not very high I of me, but I like a very organized inbox. And, what you'll get email, we're working with people all across the world, I would say. So you're getting emails at all times of the day, and it's really hard for me not to respond to them. And I really just have to check out and just let myself check out and let the emails come in, and I can handle them tomorrow. So I have a lot of boundaries, I think, around time, but I will say it's funny when you said that, I was just thinking one of the best decisions I have ever made as a founder with a growing business is to really protect my time on my calendar. And what that looks like for me, which is probably different for everybody, is Monday, I don't know if I was doing this if you remember this about me, but I'm still following this as much as I can. Monday is my admin day, and that helps me catch up, helps me read all these newsletters, helps me just get all the random stuff, just get ahead of things. Tuesdays are my call days, and I'm literally like most of the time back to back with a lunch. I give myself block off lunch, back to back calls that day. Wednesday is a little bit more creative for me. And so we have a marketing strategist now taking it over, but I've been running Parker Social still. And
are you still doing that? Are you still doing that?
Not anymore. But I have been, and that's the one thing I've hung on to that's like a whole other podcast in itself of why. But so Wednesdays are my creative days. And then I also do a little bit more like catch up still. And then Thursday's another call day for me. And then Friday are like flex days for us. But those really, I have a lot of meetings often. And what happened is when they were on every single day, I felt just so scattered. And of course, I have random ones pop up and I can't avoid them. Yeah. But being more intentional with those days help me get ahead and work on the things that you tend to easily get behind on and not feel, when you have a busy call day and you're just like, what did I do today? Like, it just feels, it's just not a healthy. Yeah. So that was the best thing. I think best decision I made for my schedule and time. And
I think, is it fair to say you're kind of giving up running the socials kind of last? Like you've held on tight to that, which is normal. That's normal. And so many, I kind of look at that for you as that's your calling card, right? Y'all socials are your calling card. And so to give that up is a very, very scary, that's a big jump. That's a massive leap to do that.
I remember thinking it was kind of silly that I was doing our social media still as a founder. And I'll never forget listening to Shay McGee from Studio McGee on a podcast. And they asked her, like, how did you figure out what to start hiring out? And she said, over the years, the longer I've been doing this, I learned that I will always hire out things where people can do it better. But she said that there might be a task that I can't find someone that does it better, in my opinion, than I do. And it might be something that other people are like, that's so ridiculous that you're still doing it. But in my opinion, as the business owner, I still do it best. And I think that's kind of where I felt like I liked my touch on it. Not that I'm like the best content creator, but I couldn't really find someone that could have the same voice as Parker as I could, because Parker's my company. And so, it was a really big thing. It is something that I literally am passing off as we speak. And, the goal isn't to keep doing it, but it was the last thing to go, which is funny because I feel like that's typically not the normal course for a founder.
Well, I think it's smart. You hear so many books or coaches or whatever telling the founder to delegate sales down fast, get yourself out of that role, which is basically what you're doing. I'm completely in disagreement with that. Nobody's ever going to know the business as good as you. So your instincts to be the front facing part of that and give that away slowly. Again, I think you did the right thing instinctually. And I think so many founders who start listening to advice of others, pushing them to let go of that stuff early, I think that's hogwash. You're the only one. Nobody's going to protect that brand as good as you can.
Yeah, it's so true. And it just doesn't always make sense to other, even business books I read would have told me like, that's not smart, but I think it absolutely is. Yeah. And people have to have long runways with you to get the institutional knowledge of how your brain works. That takes that is not an easy thing to get away. I'm glad you got somebody who's starting to ride beside you on it now. We'll start pivoting toward a close here. If you could have told your earlier founder self one thing that you know now about scaling a creative, high-trust business, what would it be? What advice could you go back and give Lindsay 5 or 6 years ago? Honestly, what I said earlier about just make those hard decisions faster. Yeah. It really helps you. It is so helpful and good for your mental health. And it's also better for that person that you need to make those hard decisions for. So make those hard decisions more timely.
Yeah. And sometimes that's hard. That's a disc profile thing too. High I's and S's. We care about people so much that sometimes we'll push off the hard thing, the hard decision. Yep. And they're easier decisions if you run to them faster.
Yep. So true.
What's next for you guys? What's next for Lindsay? What's next for Parker? Now that you got this whole new world in front of you, what's the next 2 or 3 years going to look like?
Gosh, I honestly went into this transaction going like, I want to be the leading management company in the US for creators. And I just want to do it really well. I also want to show people post-transaction like that we're not going to fall apart. Like, I think that's just kind of what I've seen is things not go well, and I want to do it really well. And I just want to change. I literally want to, this is so big and it's silly because I don't normally talk like this, but I want to change the industry, and I want to be the leaders that do disrupt kind of both the traditional side and the digital side and kind of marry them all together a bit better. And I mean, overall, I want to keep working. That doesn't mean I want to add a ton to my plate. I actually feel like in a good spot, but I want to keep challenging myself, and I just want to make a big impact in our industry. And I think that there's a lot of room for it. And so that's what we're working towards.
Guys, a team out there listening, Lindsay is really good at manifesting what comes next, and believe in that. Believe in that. Like if you've got your big idea, everybody in the world is talented, but not everybody in the world has the chutzpah or the belief in themselves to go for it. And you do. Mm-hmm. You have a really good balance of saying, I think I can, I know I can, we'll get there some kind of way. And that is so refreshing. And it's a lesson for other people to just do it, man. Nothing wrong with betting on yourself. And then when people see that you believe in yourself, that is a law of attraction. And that's what has allowed you to attract such quality people around you. So well done.
I fully agree. Thanks, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you. And the other thing that we didn't talk a lot about is that Lindsay has a great family life, and having a partner that believes in you and pushes you and allows you to fly, that is so important. It's so important for entrepreneurs to have around. And you and Tyson have navigated that, from what I can see, so beautifully. And that's sometimes not easy. It's sometimes not easy for partners that are together at a young age, for one of them to have the big idea and for the other partner to support it in every way. And he gets a lot of credit for that, or he should get a lot of credit for that.
I honestly don't know that I could. And even just my parents, like, they're very much like, if I wanted to start an ice cream truck tomorrow, they said, that's going to be one hell of an ice cream truck. Like, they really have always said, like, you can do anything. But I think if I don't want to do anything, Tyson would say, all right, let's not do anything. And if I do want to do something, Tyson's like, okay, let's go. And I think that for my brain and my personality, that stability. Oh gosh, I've said stability so much. So I think this is a theme here. This is an important theme. Yeah. But having that kind of anchor to lean on, that is just going to be supportive of whatever way you want to go, especially knowing, I think, in my personality, sometimes I do want to pull back a little bit. And then other times I'm ready and like, let's go. And it's so helpful to have that person by your side.
Yeah, when I think about you and Tyson and the leadership team around you with Steph and Lauren and Taylor, I think about them as your anchors of stability, and you're like a tetherball. Like, you're going to be wild and crazy. You're going to always you're going to have the big idea. You're going to have the next crazy thing. It's going to ebb and flow. Your pendulum's going to swing, but you've got these anchors that keep you somewhat grounded, grounded enough. Yep. And that's such a special place. And I think the lesson out there, team, if you are that young entrepreneur, first of all, if you don't have a partner, choose your partner super carefully, right? Choosing partners carefully is so hard to do. But if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you need someone who can support you, who can pick you up, who can push you, who can not ever have BS with you and tell it to you straight and allow you to go fly. And you've cultivated that so well with your family and with the people around you inside of the company. So well done. I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
How do people follow along? How do people go learn and follow and watch you?
You can, my personal is Lindsay Nead, Lindsay with an A, and on Instagram, or Parker Management on Instagram. That's pretty much our primary channels. You can also look at Propagate. If you're into movies, I don't know who anybody is these days that are in movies. And it's so funny. You can name drop all the celebrities. I'd have no idea. But if you're into that and you like to watch TV and movies, Propagate Content is their handle, and it's amazing what they're working on. They're doing so many cool things. So definitely give them a follow as well.
The stick is amazing. I mean, that's
it's so fun. It's just so cool what they're doing. And I get a little behind the scenes lens at that. And it's just a total different world.
Good. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. And
thanks for having me, Chris.
I'm so freaking proud of you, and tell Tyson hello and all the team members hello and all that too. Team, we'll wrap it up today, guys. If you liked it, go tell everybody, like it, share it, follow us. If you didn't like it, don't tell anybody. Well, guys, that's a wrap for today. We thank you a ton for listening and looking forward to the next episode, where we'll continue this journey on how becoming corporate enough can put you in your highest productivity zone to create a successful, profitable, and purpose-driven business for you.